All right, let's see if we can finish this up just one more time to very quickly go over this. We started out by adding our comment. Then we added in this one in here is the only one that's still gray. It's going to stay gray, just so you know, and I'll explain why later. But we added in our import statements, including the one for a random number. We came in here. Notice these are still gray because we haven't checked our status yet. We'll do that in just a minute. These are all purple now. And so we'll get these in just a minute. We declared our widgets. We declared and initialized our global variables. We came down here, we set up our references. Again, this is mapping together what we have in our main activity.java file with what we have in our activity_main.xml file. It's letting it know how they're correlated to one another. All right, then we initialized our global variables. All right, we called play the game. As it said, if the active game flag was false here, a new game is to be started. That either means the program has just started or we've just finished a game. So we reset our number of guesses to 0. We generate a random number. You'll notice that's no longer red because we wrote that routine. It's now an active game, so we set that to true, and we want to keep going. All right. So as it says, we are assuming that here that a guess has been made when we get down here, so we're trying to grab whatever was put into that edit text and parse it into an integer. It should work unless what we put in here was nothing, which means we'll throw or we will get a number format exception. If that happens, we'll have a toast that'll come up that says you didn't make a guess. Even though there shouldn't be anything in there, we're going to basically clear it out anyway. We're going to then request the focus and get out. So if we get down to here, there was a valid guess made. So we're going to write this in a second. This literally is about 6 or 7 lines to check for invalid input. If we get down to here, we had valid input. So we know that's a valid guess. We're only saying it's a valid guess if we put in something between 1 and 100. We could put more. We could put more checks in here. We could say you already made that guess. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't make the same guess again. We could do that, but we're not. So if we get to this point again, a valid user guess was made, so we increment the accumulator. Now we're going to call check guess status. If we get down to here, a valid guess was not made. In other words, an out of range guess was made. So we just added that toast to say out of range guess. And we're going to show that. Again, we're going to clear out whatever you put in for the guess, and we're going to request the focus. Now you'll notice that these 3 lines here and these 3 lines here, in fact, yeah, the 3 that are there, and at least the ones that are here, we could put return there. They're the same thing. So we could have written an external routine and just call that routine there too, rather than repeating that code. All right. So this was the beginning curly for play the game. That's the ending curly for play the game. You with me? So right before, or right underneath, we've got generate the random number. I'm going to hit enter a couple times, and I'm going to put in public Boolean check for out of range input. And again, we don't have to do this, but how about if we put a comment in there that says this method is called to verify that the user's guess was within range, i.e. between 1 and 100. Again, you don't like my comments, don't put them in or put in your own. It doesn't really matter. All right. Now, I'm getting this red under here, and you should know why already, because I'm saying it's returning a Boolean. There's no return statement. All right. So we're just going to come in here. We're going to say this. If the guess was less than the minimum guess, or the guess was greater than the maximum guess, well, we know it's out of range. You already know this. All right, so if that's the case, we'll do a toast. All right. And we'll say this time out of range guess we will again clear out whatever was in here because it was out of range. So ET enter guess dot text, dot set text to nothing. We'll again request the focus. And we'll return, but what we want to return false. It was a bad guess, right? If we get down to here, please look up on the screen for a second. If we get down to here, it was a valid guess. All right? So, valid guess between 1 and 100 made. So we're just going to return true. So again, we're checking to see if it's within range. If it's not within range, we give a toast that says OOR guess, which should say out of range guess made. Guess must be 1 to 100. All right, so we do all that. Notice now the code that we put in that was calling that check for out of range input is not read anymore. All right. So we do the toast, we clear out whatever we put in for a guess, we request the focus, and we return false. Otherwise, we know it's a valid guess. So we're going to leave it in there, we're going to return true. So what we want to do next is call that routine that we called check guess status. Because now we know we've got a valid guess, so we want to check to see if it's too high, too low, or was it correct. And again, you'll notice now that call to check guess status is not read anymore. All right, so we're going to write that in here. And I'll put a comment up at the top just because we have been. So check the current guess to see if it is A, too low, B, too high, or C, correct. And again, that hopefully by now that makes sense to both of you. So if the guess is less than the random number, well, we know it's too low. All right. So TV result dot set text, guess too low. Now I'm putting it right inside of the edit text. Are you with me? Or, I'm sorry, I'm in that text view. But we don't have to. We could have put that in as a toast too. That's just something that for you to think about. All right. Now I'm going to put a line in here. I don't know if we can get this to work or not. So comment this out, but type in here erase input. But comment it out just in case we don't get it to work. We'll look at it in just a bit. Else if the guess is greater than the random number, all I'm going to do is just grab all of this. Oops, sorry. I'm going to grab this code we just put in, and I'm going to copy it in here. And now it's guess too high. And we'll call erase input. Otherwise, it was correct. Now, you may or may not remember this, but what we want to say if it's correct is something along the lines of, what is it? You know, you guessed the random number in X number of guesses. Make sense? Okay. So if we get down to here, you don't have to do this, but we can put in a comment here that says, guess was too low. Put in another comment here. that says guess was too high. All right. And I'm going to put in another comment here that says guess was correct. All right. So what do I want to do? I'm going to build this string now. So str equals, oops. I could make, look up on the screen here. I should have put declared the string here. I could declare it here because I'm only using it there, but really you should have your variables declared at the top of a routine. So let's just say here, string str equals, and set it equal to the empty string, please. Sorry about that. All right. So we're going to say here str equals correct guess plus, it'll be a little ugly, but it'll work. Plus in plus guesses okay. So this, let's assume the number was 50. And if we put in 40, it should come out and say your guess was too low. Try again or whatever. If we do it again and we say 55, it should say your guess was too high. Try again. If we put in 50, it should then say correct 50 inside of parentheses in 5 guesses or 3 guesses or whatever. Does all that make sense? All right. Now, we're going to try to write this, but I don't know if it's going to work or not. All right, so we're going to have this routine here that's called erase input. What I'd like to do is I'd like for it to wait for a couple seconds and then the screen to clear. So when you make a guess, just to have the screen clear. Are you with me? We could do it ourselves, but we could make it nice for the user and try to do it for the user. So we're going to see if we can get this to work. Okay, it may work, it may not. So this method will clear the edit text and text view that hold program input or output. Public void erase input. This is the one that up above we commented this out. Okay, we commented it out here and here. All right. So we'll see if it works. All right. Handler. I'm going to have to explain all this stuff because it's, even after I get done, it's not going to make a lot of sense. It isn't going to like it, I can tell already. That's okay. All right. What we're telling it to do, if you look up on the screen here, what we're telling it to do here is to wait 7 seconds and then call the routine that's going to clear everything for us. Does that make sense to you? All right. The reason it doesn't like this right here is because our clear routine, which I don't even know if we've written it yet or not. Let's look. because if we didn't, we will. It's like 3 or 4 lines long. Nope, we haven't. So we'll write that. We'll put that down below. The problem is when we do it, it assumes there's going to be a view in there, and we don't have a view in there. Now, if you say, I don't understand what you mean, I'm going to try to fix this. So I want you to have the code in there, so if we get it to work, you can have it in there. All right? But until we get it to work, it's not going to do, not going to do diddly for you. Okay? So right below this, we're going to put our public void clear all and set focus. Okay? And it's a spanking total of 3 lines. Et guess dot set text to nothing. Sorry, that's enter guess. Set text to nothing. TV result dot set text to nothing. And et guess dot request focus. All right. Just because we've been doing it everywhere else, let's put a comment here that just says something like this. Method will clear the edit text and pretty much what it does here. Just leave it like that. Okay. One more line to do. And again, this is another one that I think is not going to work, so we'll put it in there, but then we'll comment out the code. All right, and I'll put a thing in here that says this method will pause for a few seconds and then begin a new guessing game. All right. So public void new game. Again, this is not going to work, so please comment out these 2 lines. All right, it'll be almost the same 2 lines that we had above. I've got to see what I can do to get these 2 to work. They worked and then they just stopped working, so I don't know what the problem is. But there is one. So like I said, make sure you have the 2 lines in erase input commented out and the 2 lines in new game commented out. We will try to fix those and give those to you by tomorrow. You all caught up? Are you caught up? Okay. One thing I did not do that we should have done, and that is in here, in our enter guess, all right, you may have done this. I had it in there originally, but it's not in there now, I believe, and that is to tell the type of value that it holds. Does that make sense? So whatever the keyboard is going to be. And of course, I don't remember what that is, but we'll find it right now. Text view, edit text. So what if I put in keyboard? Nope. Oops. Just let Google find it for me. It's input method. Now you may have this on yours already. I don't know. but I'm going to come right here, input type equals, and I want it to be number, and I'm just going to put in here number signed. Okay, so I added this line, check and see if you have that. That brings up the keyboard, and it will not allow negative numbers. Okay. So we did that. It may not seem like it, but we did that fairly quickly. So there's the edit text button, and there's the text view. Now it doesn't like something here. Oh, and that's because I've got the wrong button name. So that's btn calculate. Okay, that should fix that. All right, so let me save it. Take it for a ride. Now, it's ugly, so you can play with the colors any way you want to play with the colors, okay? So I'm going to come in here, 50, calculate, and that ain't good because it should have been giving us the results here, and it's not. So, and clear is not working either. Good gravy. I took it from a working copy, and I just want to show you this, okay? So, I'll go back and look at everything, but I just want to show you this. So I'm going to stop this. Close the project, and I'm going to open an existing project, and it's one of these two. I don't remember which one, but we'll try guess. It's either guess or guess 2. It ain't that one. Okay. This should compile and run. This is what I took it from. Now, there's stuff in here we haven't talked about yet, so don't let that throw you, okay? Because we're probably going to end up doing a lot of the next program together as well. So let's see. Not giving me any errors. That's a good sign. Well, I ran it this morning, and it ran without a hiccup. There was no error, there was no problem, there was nothing wrong with it. And now, as you just saw, there is. So, there's good news and bad news. The good news is we've got a program. The program is basically done. I'm going to go right now and check it against what I have for my master. If I found any errors, I'll let you know what they are. Then I should be able to run you off each a copy, and I'll annotate or just put a little X, hey, this was wrong on mine, etc. All right. Now, with yours, you both said that you were making progress on the calculator, correct? Correct? All right. It may be easier for you right now to just do the one with the buttons, unless you looked at the spinner already and you understand it. If you looked at the spinner and didn't understand it, we'll do that one as a class later on next week. Okay? So I'm going to give you the rest of the period today, so you've got basically 2 hours today. All right? You're going to get the whole period tomorrow, and in the meantime, I'll try to fix this thing up and then run you each off a copy. And then Wednesday, we will take the test. I will tell you that the test is basically something you've already done in C#. All right, just like a simple conversion program, and you do it once where you're just doing a conversion, and then again where it's like a feet to inches or inches to feet type of thing. Does that make sense? You will have the entire period to work on it, and we'll see where you are at the end of the period. All right, I really think you're both talented enough that you should be able to finish it in 4 hours. Could I be wrong? You know that I can be wrong, but we'll do the best. So that's it. Then on Thursday, I probably won't have the tests graded by then, but on Thursday, we will both then look at the calculator with the, not seek bar, but that basically has the drop-down list in it. All right, we'll do that. And then we will start on units 2 and 3. Okay, unit 2 is a very detailed explanation of, it starts out, this is what set content view and all that stuff you saw in the onCreate means. And it talks about the other phases of what's called the Android activity lifecycle, so the different phases that it can be in. Then we talk about intents. What does that mean? We want to be able to have multiple screens. So what we will do with this program that we're working on now is we will add 2 more screens to it. All right. And with those screens, what will happen is we'll have totals, so to speak, and we'll have that be on one screen. Plus, I think I might even told you this the other day. We'll check, and if you get it, if you guess the number within X number of guesses, you're a pro. Otherwise, all the way down to an amateur type of thing. And we'll do that, and we'll add some images for that as well. Okay. We'll probably even go back to the BMI one and put that on multiple pages, just so, because I want you, that's a really important thing for you to be able to do multiple page things. All right, so that's what we'll be doing between the rest of this week and probably into all of next week. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go look right now and see if I can figure out what the hey I did wrong with this, because I didn't see anything. So, in fact, I'm going to keep this on and keep taping as I look and debug or do whatever you say that I'm doing here. All right. right, if you look up here for just a second, I wanted to show you a timer, but for some reason it just doesn't like it. So when I run it now, I made the background light purple instead of the dark purple. So you can see that. So you come in here, 50, calculate. Oh, give me a break. You just worked. I just ran it 4 times and it worked every time. Oh, my goodness. All right. Oh, I know what it is. I gotta go back and put that back in there. See if that fixes it. All right, try it again. No. Okay. If I had just not added this timer to begin with, I'd be having none of these problems. So that was on me for putting that in there to begin with. This will have to view. Soulless. And that is called let's look again. 50. Guess too low, try again. 75. Guess too high, try again. 66. Guess too low, try again. 71. Guess too high, try again. 69. Guess too high. 68. Too high. I'm getting there. 67. Too high. 66. Still too high. 64 is too high. 60 is too high. 56 is too high. Oh, what the heck? 55. 50. Boy, I'm really good at playing this game, aren't I? 1, too low. 33, too low. 44, too low. 48, too high. 46, too high. 45, too high. 44, 43, 42, 41. I thought I already said 40. Well, something goofy's happening here. Yeah, I think what's happening is to get this to work, I had to be playing with this, passing the view all over the place, and I think what it's doing is it's starting a new game. So as soon as I'm getting there instead of running, it's actually starting a new game. Let's just try one more time. Calculate. So that's too high. 1. That's too low. That's what it should be. 25. That's too high. 10. It's too low. 20. That's too low. Now if I do 25 again and it says, see, it's reset itself. Okie dokie. The point is the stuff, I mean, actually it is working until we get to the end. And I'll fix that. I'm just going to go through it right now and take all the stuff I put in and throw it back out again. So I'll give you all this, and it's a learning experience for all of us. Do you understand the logic, though? I mean, you've written this in other languages. So the key takeaway here is it's just the stuff you have to change. You'll notice, too, now if I put in this, out of range, guess must be 1 to 100, and it does the same thing if I make a negative guess. Same error. If I put nothing in there, Come on, nothing in there, come on. Wow, there, no guess attempted. All right. So that's all working, but I'll fix this last thing right now. All right. So remove that. Call the new game. That'll fix everything. All right. All right. 50, 14, okay, it now works. I just ripped everything out that I just put in to make it work, but so taking it from the top when there's no guess in there whatsoever, and I click calculate, no guess attempted. Exactly what you think would happen. All right. Then it also cleared out even though there's nothing in there. If I put in a number too large and I calculate, out of range guess made must be between 1 and 100. That's staying on there way too long. I don't know why it's staying on there that long, but a negative guess, same thing, out of range guess. All right, so you've got all that. Come on, get out of there. Okay, so I put in 50, calculates too high, clear, put in 25, calculate, that's too high, put in 12, that's too low, so I know it's between 13 and 24. How about 17? That's too high. 14, that's too low. It's got to be 15 or 16. There's 15. There it is. All right. And as soon as I clear and click calculate, it should give me a new number now. And what was the number we just put in? I think it was 16 or something like that. So it's now too low. All right. So it is working. I'll run this off. You can take a look at it, play with it, do whatever you want to do with it. Okay. All right. When I did the calculator program, I did not do it with the buttons. Is that the way you guys are doing it? Or are you using the buttons? Then I'll go back and I'll redo it with the buttons. So we've got it both ways. So if you've got problems, I'll be able to hopefully at least know what your problems are.